because you in that world, you're able to handle the darkness of the world more than average people who don't pay attention to it.
Find yourself with lifelong lessons. That's your strength through that scope that you have and how you experience life. You and the broad perspective, the wisdom and knowledge is so applicable. Whereas
Status like Capricorns
100,
inspired me to be a capitalist. Like I could actually say I want to be a capitalist without being ashamed about it.
where you really know your shit, and it may be weird, you may be into BDSM, you may be into fucking lizards or whatever the fuck it is that you'll be into, but for some reason you know the shit out of that stuff.
Saying earlier, they need to learn how to separate the world from who they are, their spaceship, and the other people's spaceship. Because sometimes we're born to this world, like I was saying earlier, built by other people's dreams and
Welcome to the true space. Yeah, bitch, welcome to the true space. Welcome to the true space. Yeah, bitch, welcome to the true space.
What's good, y'all? My name is Open Book. This is my partner.
Hey guys, this is Harith. Welcome back to TRUSPACE.
Yeah, and let's finish off talking about the strengths and weaknesses of all of the zodiac signs. I think we finished off last time at Libra. So starting out with Scorpio, what do you think are the strengths that Scorpio has?
If you have like your sun, moon, ascendant, and Scorpio, you basically have a large portion of your life in that area of life that deal with like vulnerabilities, darkness, the hidden parts of the world that people don't try to become aware of. Like Scorpio is this part of the world where we all shun away. Just think about how we shun away our vulnerabilities. We shun
Yeah,
away the past history. We shun away concept like what happened in slavery, the people who got raped, all the mud children that got born, all the
yeah.
wars, all the occult practices and shit like that. And because it's so emotionally attached to it, it's very hard for us kind of to get out of it. But this is actually the power of Scorpio. The more we kind of allow ourselves to be or face these vulnerabilities and these extreme emotion, it creates like a mind that's able to sustain like darkness, if you get what I'm saying. Like you're able to handle because you in that world, you're able to handle the darkness of the world more than average people who don't pay attention to it.
100%. And using that example that he displayed, that's why you see niggas nowadays, it's like they made out of titanium or like niggas can take on a lot of shit, if you get what I mean. Like they just be doing a whole bunch of different other type of shit. Bottomless pit ass niggas, but because of the trauma that was going on, it built a severe level of toughness, a severe level
Mhm.
of emotional dexterity where they can handle intensity, like certain things, like say in suburban communities, and shit like that. They wouldn't be able to handle the daily life of what goes on in the hood, if you get what I mean. And then niggas don't
Mhm.
even realize how crazy their environment is until they step out or go somewhere else and shit like that. They'll be like, oh yeah, you don't have to lock your doors at night. Like y'all niggas wilding. Like what do you mean you don't have to lock everything up? But you could do it the flip side too. I swear, white people, when it's cold outside, these niggas always be wearing shorts and shit. I be outside seeing niggas jogging in fucking t-shirts, fucking -5 and shit. And I'm just sitting there bundled up with my double layer jacket. I'm like, yo, what are these niggas doing? But maybe coming from colder regions, and being in that intensity, for generations could build a level of dexterity where they're not as evasive to cold air, if you get what I mean, where there's a level of toughness where they can operate within a colder environment, just to show you how being in an intense environment or being
Mhm.
intense, how it builds that toughness in all realms of reality,
Mhm.
once it's concentrated.
This is why you could say like you could say toxicity is important. Like I don't think humanity could live without being like toxic to each other. Like toxicity like gave a lot of us meaning and reasoning of our life. Like all the what happens things, all the things that happened in the past, the darkness, a lot of us cannot separate from it to the point because we think we are these things. Like if Aquarius is the progressive future, Scorpio is like the deep past. But like and Taurus is like the current. I would say Taurus is the current, the physical world.
Yeah,
Leo is the current moment because like it's what's shining, what's happening right now.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, Scorpio definitely would be the accumulation of all of the past, 100%. But
Yeah,
toxicity,
like
just like what you said, how would you know
oh,
about purity without toxicity?
exactly, and like I don't think average human could live without toxicity ever. Like you need some toxicity in your life, like some family drama, some drama in your life and shit like that. If your life was plain and normal, this is why females. My mom used to love watching drama. Like I never understood that. Why would they love watching drama if they say they hate drama? But drama is what they get their life going, their blood boiling. It gives them energy and shit like that.
That's what I
And
swear to God. Yeah.
like even in biology is very interesting how you can't be alkaline or clean 100% because we didn't realize how there's certain how it's not beneficial. You need to experience certain toxicity so you can develop an immune system based for yourself because you went through this kind of dark experience or this food poisoning. Now you developed a little bit of more immune system. But like to
Yeah.
get rid of toxins completely is like a idea itself does not exist in nature.
I get what you mean because it builds that level of strength in terms of, you know how you go to other countries and they tell you not to drink the water, but then
Exactly.
but the niggas in Africa be drinking out of mud puddles and shit like that. But if you were to drink out of a mud puddle, yeah, you shit your guts out and shit like that. It's shit if you don't die, you know, if you come out of that shit, you're gonna
Mhm.
have the strongest gut biome. Maybe if you did that as a kid, you know, they let you drink out of the mud puddles and shit like that. Yeah, there's bacteria and bad stuff into it, but you fighting those battles gives your body that familiarity. So then at a certain point, so when famine going through and everybody's fighting over water and nobody wants, because they're all society people, they don't want to drink from that dirty mud puddle, you're gonna be thriving. Your skin's gonna be glowing. You're gonna just be bulging muscles. And niggas like, yo, there's a famine, bro. How are you? And you're like, I'm eating bugs and drinking mud water. And they're like, huh?
A
But
lot, and then they would literally take you, study you, and then I like ask to do business with you because like you were the representation of transmuting some crazy toxic shit that no one ever seen before. This is why I think Capricorn sextile Scorpio because if Capricorn gotta use Scorpio to somehow help us get out of our vulnerabilities through making money from our vulnerabilities, like shit like pornography and like shit like that, like sex workers,
100%.
prostitution. That shit happened from the beginning of the time.
100%. I definitely do that. And then Capricorn and Scorpio, I feel like they're both like the evil villains, you know, like the the villain behind the scenes that's controlling everything is either going
Mm,
to be a Scorpio or a Capricorn, if you get what I mean. But
yeah.
so I do get what you mean in terms of that behind the scenes manipulations and playing with, because it's the concentrated memory of things. So it could be toxicity. And then even look at the concept of toxicity. What makes something concept or what makes something impure? You know, if you look at water, one speck of something into water, it's not pure water anymore. You know, but if what if it's oil? Maybe it's not pure water anymore, but it's not necessarily an adverse reaction if you get what I mean. So
Hmm.
we kind of learn about that level, those levels of concentration where things really build up into one shape and form. And it may feel like a Scorpio doesn't have those multitude of emotions that they can entertain all of these different things, but the one emotions or those one avenues, they can go deeper than anything ever. And Capricorn can really use that because look at the levels of efficiency. Capricorn sees the efficiency. Oh, okay, maybe Sagittarius is more dispersed. Maybe Gemini can collect more information, but nothing can be as penetrating as Scorpio. So that's like the Warhammer or some shit like that. That's like, you know, the finishing blow when you want when you want to really, especially if you're like in that commanding officer type thing. That's like your secret weapon. Judas, that was the turning point. Judas sacrificing Jesus. That was the climax of the story, the climax of the events. And then it's funny because Scorpio is after the second half. So that would, if you look at it like a progression, you know, like we're coming up and then fall, you know, like a, what
Mm,
do they call it? Like a plot pyramid or whatever they would call it.
yeah.
Scorpio is literally the climax.
Hmm.
What about the weaknesses?
The weakness is inability to get out of our vulnerabilities and these fixated emotions that we're so associated with, to the point that we think these are self, which sometimes could make us Scorpio not separate from them, because sometimes it's your energy source, like our vulnerabilities, our dark emotion. Sometimes we use them as a way like to fight against the world, or a way to energize ourselves. Like there's a benefit to using like negative energy, like being angry at the fact you're broke or you don't have your own business and shit like that.
100%. Yeah, and you know, it's funny. People always say that Scorpio is good at letting things go, is good at detaching. And it's like, yeah, I don't think you guys understand. It's you, Scorpio energy. Maybe it's good. Maybe they can do that for other things, the shit that they don't care about. They can say, no, no, no. Yeah, for sure. But the
Mhm.
things that they really do, you know, those vulnerable, there's so much room for manipulation, and that's what causes the defensiveness. You know the hiding nature. So being able to let go of things, I think, is the lesson for Scorpio. It's not something that they're good at. Scorpio sucks at that. That's their
Bro,
lesson in life.
like, it's the fixated portion of the fall season. So it's like the fall season is to fall, but like you're being fixed on it. So it's almost like you trying to take a shit, but like it's not coming out.
Yeah, real talk. Real talk. And I just want to, while we're on Scorpio, I just want to clear Judas's name, because, like, this is all pretty much shade. At the Last Supper, Jesus said, "One of y'all niggas would accosted me," and he's like, and they're all like, "What do you mean? What are you talking about? We're all brethren." And then he's like, "Whoever I passed, I dipped the bread." He said, "Dip the sop or whatever," but sop was what they called bread that was dipped in gravy or whatever. He said, "Whoever
Mm.
I dip the bread into and give it to is going to be the nigga who does it." And then he gives it to Judas, and then all of them are still confused. Yo, this is all in the Bible. I swear to God, it shit made no sense. I'm like, how is this nigga telling these niggas that this nigga's gonna go and betray him? They don't understand. This nigga goes and does it, and then they still don't put two and two together after. But it was destined. Like, Jesus wanted that to happen, if you get what I mean. Like, he kind of foresaw, and you know, he even saying that Judas was, it's like he made Judas do that because he was supposed to be sacrificed, if you get what I mean. So look at that with the
Oh.
Scorpio energy too. You know, it's not, sometimes Scorpios are made to be the villain, even though they're not, in terms of they're bringing the death, they're bringing the transformation, the renewal of something. And everybody's like, "Hey, what the fuck are you doing? We was fine with that. We was fine with the toxicity. We didn't have to convert it. You know, we was fine with the alcohol level. You know, it didn't need to be calmed down with some water and shit like that, or distilled with some water." So everybody would get mad at Scorpio. And I think Scorpio falls into that, you know, falls into the evil, the negative thoughts, but doesn't understand how that avenue can be utilized, and it's hard to, especially when you experience something so intense. It's like life, you have to really, you know, pay attention, or with that energy, because it's so intense.
Mm.
It's, you can find obstacles. You could keep on finding obstacles that keep on resisting that level of intensity. But when you find the right thing, you'll be able to go deeper in that. But that level of obstacle can make it really hard. That's why so much Scorpios are depressed. That's why so much Scorpios, you know, are so stubborn and stuck in their ways, you know, or need certain things for emotional security, and can't find new representations for that type of stuff. But it's all reasonable if you really think about it.
So like a main idea with Scorpio energy is like learning how to transmute that part of life like you have it in. Like I have in my 12th house, so it's like it's kind of fucked up because like people when you have the Scorpio as your 12th house, it's like you can't see your vulnerabilities or your fixated emotions. Like it's like so behind the scene. It's like your subconscious mind is hiding it from you. And like Scorpio
Yeah,
12 it's one of the most funniest alignment ever. Because
I bet.
but like it gives you some capacity to go so deep within your dreams and illusion too, to the point like it's scary. Like it makes like dreams like alive, or like
Yeah.
brings scary depth to them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it sounds like a labyrinth or like a mist type of thing that
Yeah,
you could get lost in forever. Yeah.
yeah. This is why I say maybe you're lucky with having like a Scorpio fourth house, like on any different area, because you could have it like you could see it like if it's in your area of your family, like it's much more easier to feel. It's not like I didn't know where this energy was even coming from. You at least knew it was like where it was coming
Where my
from.
accumulated energy is infecting me. You don't even know this accumulated energy, you know?
No, I had to go through learning astrology, a bunch of shit to realize, oh, I got Scorpio 12 house. So,
That sounds like an alignment where you'll have like some type of arch enemy that you didn't know that you had come up and be like, here, let's duel. For the crime that you did to me 2 years ago, and you're like, oh shit, nigga, I didn't even know, bro.
a lie. I'm pretty sure I could create a lot of like subconscious enemies. Yeah.
But yeah, that's the energy of Scorpio. What about Sagittarius? What is the strengths of Sagittarius?
Their strength is their ability to be broad and indecisive when it comes to their way of expressing their vision and imagination. This gives them the gift of being able to shift in out of different form of self-expression and presenting themselves to see what's the most wisest form of like presenting yourself.
Mm,
And like Aries, they don't give a fuck. They just start something and go all the way in. They don't care about no one
yeah.
opinion. Leo, they're fixated in that image of how they look. Sagittarius, they move in and out of it so they could extract the knowledge and wisdom, so they could know what to do and what not to do. But it takes a long time to be able to do that, because you go through multiple visions, multiple experiences, so you could develop that Jupiterian wisdom, which takes a long time. This is why in their younger years, majority of Sagittarius are reckless and probably go through a lot of chaotic experience. Like I have a Sagittarius ascendant. Every day in my life, I can see how my Sagittarius ascendant is trying to pull me forward in certain experiences. But since I have my moon sign, sometimes prevent me from going too far in it.
I get what you mean because of that square.
Yeah.
100%. I think that just like what you were saying, that restlessness exists in all of the fire signs for sure. But with Sag, like what you're saying, the scope is way broader. Like in Aries, may start something that they may not end up finishing, but just Sag energy is going to start the biggest projects and start a humanitarian effort to change the entire world, and maybe get a quarter of the way through it, and then come up with another master plan to save the entire world that was a little bit different from the last master plan, maybe get a quarter of the way through it, and then come up with another master plan, if you get what I mean, where the restlessness comes from, is directed in a large scope, so it can lead to those distractions. But just like what Harold was saying, it gives you a full perspective of the situation that you're going at, and you can utilize your vitality with more wisdom, with a broader scope, with way more wisdom.
Like Sagittarius, they have they need learn how energy like efficiency, because a lot of times they waste energy. All mutable signs waste energy. But
Yeah.
like when we have a mutable sign that's a fire sign, fire element that burn through reality. So a lot of times that leads to destruction, even within the body. Like like Sagittarius represents your muscular system, and you experience destruction on a micro scale every time you kind of work out your muscle. So you gotta be careful with what type of kind of experiences you want to go through, because a lot of times Sagittarius, I'm pretty sure they all get older and realize how reckless they were when they were younger, all the alcohol, the drugs and shit like that, if they did not learn how to like integrate it properly in their later adult life.
Yeah, that alchemy where it all comes together, where you like Sagittarius understand those levels of percentage level, or understand life as a percentage level way more intuitively than the other signs, because of that broadness, where they can mix and mingle and see the similarities in a broad spectrum of things. So that's definitely the strength. And just like what Harriet was saying with that recklessness, or that leaning to journeys, especially being able to dream big, like in Aries may choose a bunch of short-lived or choose immediate gratification. A Leo may choose when they get attention. But a Sag, it's not necessarily about attention. It's not necessarily about fulfilling an immediate desire. It's about fulfilling a dream. It's about meaning. It's about purpose. If you get what I mean, that those are the moving, driving factors. So the lessons that learn can always be used. You find yourself with lifelong lessons. That's your strength through that scope that you have and how you experience life. You and the broad perspective, the wisdom and knowledge is so applicable. Whereas an Aries may get good at one thing, a Leo may get good at one thing, a Sag, shit. You may just be good at the one thing too, but you can do the multitude of it. In terms of, say you're a guitar player, only instrument you know how to play is guitar, but you know how to play Spanish guitar, you know how to play, like all different types of genres of guitar and shit like that. Like it would be that type of energy that Sag has with that broad perspective of view. And you're also not going to get pinholed into, limiting belief systems or limiting ideologies. I don't think Sag could fall for that. If something doesn't suit their desire for purpose, they won't give their faith to it. But it does. So they're more likely. I think Sag is more likely to cut through and see the truth of a situation, or to see if something actually is going to fulfill a purpose. But it could also go wrong because I bet a lot of Christians and stuff like that, and all of these other religions that would have that Sag energy, those people aren't wrong in terms of talking about Jesus saved my life, or he gives me peace and shit like that. If you see it in their life that they're actually a little bit more peaceful, like they were able to achieve it, if you get what I mean. Maybe where the energy is going, it's not always going back to them, something like that. But whatever they're chasing suits that need for purpose and meaning, if you get what I mean. So even if it didn't work out, all of that energy that you did give to Christianity, say it didn't work out and didn't suit that purpose, that wisdom and knowledge is going to be applicable in everywhere else. And then say you're going to try and be Muslim now, the Muslims are going to love you because of the broader perspective that you have because of your experiences through Christianity and then what led you to there. Or you want to go and be a Buddhist now, the Buddhists will love you, if you get what I mean. Whereas other niggas, other Christians, maybe other people would hate them, or the ideologies that they would experience. But Sag will give you the broad perspective.
Like Sagittarius energy, like inspire the world in a sense, because it gives the world like a meaning and reasoning, and not one, like Cece saying, like multitude, so it could continue burning through reality and not say fixated.
What would you say the weakness would be?
Ooh, recklessness, indecisiveness with what form of vision or expression they want to go with, and the need of too much meaning and reasoning before doing things. Not everything in life needs a meaning and reasoning.
Yeah.
Some things like work, you need a meaning and reasoning, and then something related to God. Like this is the issue with Sagittarius. Sagittarius is the area of life where you blame God and shit like that, or they give too much meaning and reason, which you don't actually like. But
Yeah,
but the positive side, like I was saying earlier, it's the same thing that give you energy.
That's true. 100%. It's all about how you direct things, and everything's a percentage level. But like what we were saying, yeah, Sag understands that the best. But yeah, I would say that recklessness and the thinning of the end of your energy, that giving faith, that faith has to do. It takes a lot of energy to give faith into something, to believe in something that is not there. And when and that's probably why everybody says Sag has the extremes, where there are high highs and low lows. When you're that open with things, it can get like that, if you get what I mean. If what you place faith into, what you give meaning, say the dream that you had, the vision that you had, can't be supported, and you're like on that journey, that's kind of heart crushing, if you get what I mean. Where it's way bigger of a thing to lose whatever they're pursuing for them because of the meaning that they put behind things.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. Extremism.
Yeah, because like you gotta think with Sagittarius is it's between like Scorpio and then like Capricorn. So like
Yo,
with
like
like, that's very dangerous area. I'm very surprised of how optimistic and faithful Sagittarius can be between these two fucking signs,
yo,
yo.
real shit. Yo, that is some real shit. Yo, how do you stay positive in a room of the Scorpio and the Capricorn and say shit
Uh,
pops off? And you know, they just talking mad negative shit. And Sag still manages to be positive.
yeah,
That's insane.
like that's why I say like Sagittarius like top like if like trolling is really Sagittarius like a very synonymous together.
That's true.
Like I feel
Um,
like a Sagittarius would be that nigga's like trolling your entire life, but like you don't understand like what he knows, like what's his like how he sees things. Well, you may see
mhm.
things in one way, and then later in life you talk to him, and then you feel his broad philosophical perspective that did not allow him to get trapped in like other perspectives.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. But yeah, it also leads to a saturation, whereas Scorpio maybe was is highly concentrated. Sag is that dispersion, so you may not have a lot of concentrated energy. That could definitely be a weakness, stretching the energy too thin. But that's Sag. What about Capricorn? What's the weakness? I mean, strengths that Capricorn would have.
Their strength, I would say, Capricorn teaches us the ability to maintain a public image and how the need to keep our emotion aside conduct our business and status. Like Capricorns
100.
inspired me to be a capitalist. Like I could actually say I want to be a capitalist without being ashamed about it.
Real talk, because you see the nigga so put together, so
Yeah.
professional, so seemingly in control of the things that are going on within their life, making big moves, big decisions, and you're like, oh shit, you know, oh this nigga look nice. This nigga's on the top of the mountain. This
Mhm.
is something that I can aspire to be. I can follow this guy's blueprint, his model, and maybe
Like
I can get behind that system. I give him authority because I see the level of position that he's at, and this is something a ladder that I would like to climb.
mhm, like
Whereas when you see the Sag going in circles and shit like that, you're like, can I do? Is he gonna end up in where he said he was gonna end up? The niggas doing all loopy loops and shit.
yeah, I think this is also why people kind of or God trusted Capricorn to build the world and shit like that, or like move the world forward because he's the only person willing to put his emotion aside and initiate this business for longevity of everybody. Like Capricorn is the most consistent cardinal sign, more than Aries, Cancer, and Libra because they're ruled by Saturn. So that gives them a consistent like energy, like input.
100%, 100%. That level of consistency, that would probably be Capricorn's strength. Consistency, efficiency, even if it's in stubbornness, even if it's in, you know, a negative expression, we can count on you to do it. You know what I mean? Like we can depend on you to do it, to be like that. 100%. And to the highest degree, you're going to be like that to the finest degree that could be possible. That's definitely the strength of Capricorn, that level of dependency and the upholding of that image, you know, like certain signs could really make that switch and not give a fuck about how they're perceived, or can abandon responsibilities based off of
Mhm.
certain priorities. Capricorn,
Sagittarius.
yeah, exactly.
They're like Sagittarius would leave home, family, like everything, and be a lost hippie. Like Capricorn, no. Like Capricorn knows his part in the world. This is what all Capricorn kids they feel like they're responsible for something, or like they're very serious, or some shit like that.
Yeah, yeah, it's facts. 100%. That level of and the seriousness that comes with it, but it makes sense. You have to be serious to unlock that level of consistency and to have that level of accountability. So 100%, we can always depend on Capricorn, and that's your strength, your accountability, your ability to feel the responsibility. Sag can run off and maybe not feel the weight of the responsibilities and then get caught in it later. You always being aware of them, you're never going to be caught off guard, if you get what I mean. And you're never going to place the blame on within someone else, if you get what I mean. Which is so powerful. This is what everybody does. The finger pointing, the finger pointing. And if you're that Capricorn that's finger pointing, you're way out of your element. You're way out of what you're supposed to be doing. And look at the manager role. When look at the top guy, the people who's running the thing. If one of the workers, one of the henchmen messes up, one of the smaller people, it always goes to the manager who takes responsibility. And you need someone who can be held accountable and will take that and say, yes, that's my fault. I should have instructed them better. I should have set up things better. I should go back into the blueprint and redesign things so it can be better. But I hold myself accountable, and I will initiate the action that will bring more stability, that will bring more structure into the situation. Libra, you have to tell Libra to do it every time. Every time you have to tell Libra. Aries, you don't even talk to Aries or try it. This nigga's just not gonna listen. It's like all the other times just don't listen. Capricorn takes responsibility for that action. And whether it be, it can be in a salty way too. You could be like, you know what, this nigga went and broke my heart. I am never gonna be in that situation again. And you know what, shit, you wouldn't. So it can lead to that bitterness too. It can depend on that consistency.
Yeah, and you learn that Capricorn energy every day at work. To be honest, yo, it's not you. You don't even need to be a Capricorn. You got no choice but to be a Capricorn at work.
Real
Put your
talk.
feelings aside. If you start complaining about other workers at your job, you look stupid. But I'm telling you, if you the one nigga at work who taking responsibility, not complaining, like people will respect you.
Yeah, 100%. Those are the niggas who get promoted and shit like that, and get into the higher ranks and shit like that. 100%. Capricorn, is a huge aspect of the world that we live in, because we're operating off of a blueprint, which is interesting. If you look at, if the world is Capricornian because it's Saturnian, and the people that are ruling us, Saturnian, and we're talking about the blueprint. I find it interesting. Maybe there's a correlation between DNA and Capricorn, if you get what I mean. It being the structure or the blueprint of the body, and why, say, if Judaism is a Capricornian, Saturnian type of religion, or they're channeling those energies, and then look at how I was telling you about Yahweh, how it being the intervals of the DNA sequences within the body. If you do the number of the intervals, it equal in geometry, or when you do the letter correlations with the numbers, it spells Yahweh, and that's the blueprint. So I see a lot of heavy blueprint emphasis when you see Capricorn energy. So and maybe that level of seriousness, that pre-planning, a Sag. Maybe that would be their weakness, because a Sag would be ready for anything because of that level of floatiness, that they may even find themselves in a good position to handle severe change. But you see, look at what things are going now. Say you're a big CEO, and what became obsolete now. What's obsolete now? Say you're a big CEO and something that was obsolete now. Now what? Or something that is no longer important or loses its position. Now what? You have to throw away your whole blueprint, or it's hard to, and now you have to let it go. The thing that you had built, that level of seriousness, the things that you were accountable before, you won't be able to make that change, that switch up that other people will. You built a tall building, and now it's just a fire coming from the bottom, or a fire maybe coming from the top or something like that. Other signs would not hesitate to run out and jump out of that building. But the Capricorn is like, nah, I built this shit with my hands. I have to stay here. I have to go down with the ship, and this is why it's so much stubborn. Capricorn being businessman, a business mind aspect, where they drive themselves to disease. They drive themselves to, and maybe even constriction. You start constricting things. A weakness can lead to. Well, I bet Capricorns maybe deal with arthritis a little bit more.
Arthritis, gout, or their body fluids drying up, all type of shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Once we get into like Capricorn, Aquarius, Spicy, these signs, physical issues is like some next shit
it's fucked
compared
up,
to like
eh?
yeah, 100%.
That's insane. I bet. Yeah, that would definitely be a weakness of Capricorn. They're so structured that they don't have flexibility.
Yeah.
And they're not open to vulnerability, because when it's all about being tough, when it's all about efficiency, you don't understand vulnerability. So when vulnerability comes, you're like, you don't even know what to do. Too rigid to respond appropriately when things
Mm-hmm.
don't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
When things are illogical. What if something happened at work? That wasn't really logical. You know what I mean? What are you gonna do?
Mm-hmm. I feel like this would take us to like the next Capricorn, which is they try to bring the reality like of everything. The Capricorns, they have this time of making things too dry for everybody, too serious for everybody, and not every part of life should be that serious or should be that practical or should be that reality based. Like we don't need to be thinking about reality all the time.
Yeah,
Some
one
signs
hundred
don't give
percent.
some signs don't give a fuck about reality. Some signs don't even know reality exists.
You don't even live there, bro. Yeah, you dead ass, bro. Dead ass. Yo. Real shit. And then you hear Capricorn yelling at this nigga that's not even in the same world as you.
Allah, yo, I can see how when we start to move towards capitalism in general, the people who started these things maybe they didn't understand why the other people did not give a fuck about capitalism because their world was not about that world. You guys had
100%.
to really they had to build that world and they forced that world on them.
100%. 100%. It's like coffee, you know what I mean? Like everybody drinking coffee when they were a kid was like, ew, this is disgusting. But you kept on drinking. Same thing with alcohol. When you drink it first time you drink, it's like, ew, this is disgusting. But you keep on drinking and then you become accustomed to it. AKA that toughness, and you build the blueprint, the familiarity, but the vulnerability at first. But yeah, that's how Capricorn would be looking. The strengths and weaknesses of Capricorn. Looking at Aquarius, what do you think the strengths of Aquarius is?
Their ability to stay fixated on thoughts and ideas related and how to associate and network with the right people so they could achieve some form of unique original way of rebelling against what's old and outdated. Aquarius are talented at mentally putting things together and bringing the reality to them. They're the most realistic like air sign, or they try to bring like a earth quality into their realm of reality compared to other signs.
I
They're
get what you
almost
mean.
they're almost like the walking version of the internet. They're always trying to figure out how they could put this thought or this person and this electrical network that they had in their mind, so they could have this energy to flow where they play through people, places, and things in the form of business, association, or like whatever. They set if Capricorn set up the physical blueprint, of course they set up the mental blueprint.
Interesting. So Capricorn would be like the physical blueprint that allows the informational or the mental blueprint to exact itself.
Because it makes sense because in biology, Capricorn is like your bones, and they could say Aquarius is like the network that runs through your bones or some shit like that.
That uses the structure to probably get throughout the body and stuff like that. Interesting. I definitely do see that the ability to fixate on certain mentalities and shit like that. The certain geniuses in the world, or the certain people that can just do things, can access a well of knowledge so deeply. 100% Aquarius. People who maybe it's not everything that they have that accumulated, but what they do, it's their shit. Alex Jones, is Aquarius, and in the area of conspiracy theories, who's more notorious, who's more groomed than Alex Jones? Daylight being an Aquarius and battle rap. Who's more, if you get what I mean, who's better at battle rap than Daylight in terms of those mental processing? And look at how Daylight even battle raps. What's so crazy? Battle rap, what gets niggas crazy, the ohs and the crazy reactions are the references. When you reference something that people are already emotionally connected to in terms of certain things that people already have memories and emotions attached to, and you bring those up and play on them, they feel like a genuine it's like a more expansive. And I feel Aquarius is can get into that bag, can get into that realm way easier than all of the other signs.
100%.
Where you really know your shit, and it may be weird, you may be into BDSM, you may be into fucking lizards or whatever the fuck it is that you'll be into, but for some reason you know the shit out of that stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, the ability to handle things in social situations, just like what you said, the blend of the air and earth really makes them stable
Yeah, they have a
mentally.
stable train of thoughts. Like Gemini's, you could move them away from their mentalities and shit like that. And in Libra, you might be able to like disagree with them and like go with it. Aquarius, like they're fixed on the thought. Like Aquarius
Yeah,
is very good for debating and shit like that. You hold a mentality,
100%.
another nigga holding a mentality, but then you guys gotta connect other mentalities together and shit like that.
The battling of those two mentalities is actually how debates are supposed to go. A lot of people, it's funny. Like say Vidolo, he would be doing a debate or want to do a debate, but a bunch of his fans will come up and shit like that, and it's people that fuck with him. It's not people that are fixated on a separate, different thought than his, and his thought can go head to head. So sometimes the debates don't work, or it doesn't. It's not a debate. You know what I mean? You need two opposing concentrating thoughts to have that to butt heads like that.
Yeah, but also the mental awareness to allow themselves to communicate one at a time. This is what Aquarius is so good at, associating and networking and like putting things together. And if you see two people they're able to pull that energy off, a lot of information you could be learned. This was
Yeah,
debates and shit like that with people in politics groups together. Like if you have a good group of friends, but if you guys know how to put the proper networks together, information can fly very easy and efficiently, as opposed to energy stagnating. This guy network is somewhere else. It's like you're trying to put a puzzle, an electrical puzzle together.
an electrical puzzle together so that communication can happen a little bit more efficiently. Interesting. Interesting. That is very interesting. But yeah, that's definitely strengths of Leo, being able to be stable mentally. And I bet that allows them to be so progressive and to be able to, like what Jay-Z would talk about, being able to walk into a room full of vultures, and him being an Aquarius moon, you're able to have that rationality within social situations. And that's what allows you to be able to hold on to your specific thought, even though maybe the people are against you. You still feel the connection to maybe the like-minded people that you do connect with within that information, even when you are at a distance. A lot of other signs, like what Harith was saying, the Libra and Gemini, you take them out of an environment. You put a Libra with another friend, like you put Gemini in another situation in different environment, you could sway them from the thoughts that they had, if you get what I mean. An Aquarius, they can go in different environments, different social circumstances, different people, and communicate the same message and be able to fix it within the same thought. So that's definitely maybe some Christian mercenaries, or they love to have some Aquariuses or something like that, to preach the word of God in different places, if you get what I mean.
Mhm.
What would some of the weaknesses of Aquarius be?
Um, their weakness would be sometimes they don't ground what they know or like what they're talking about. They don't bring it into reality, even though I said that the most realistic air sign, not to, but that's not to say that they're not always successful at it. But it's the struggle for them to bring that mentality or make sense out of all these unique and original idea, which is hard. But this what makes them also disassociate from other people and look for other people who think like them. It's like the extreme,
100%.
I would say, extreme disassociation when people or places I think do not agree with what they're mentally thinking about or their way of dealing with things.
Yeah, 100%. It's funny. I think maybe Scorpio and Aquarius are the most likely to ghost you. Maybe Pisces in there, but it would be for different reasons. Aquarius will literally just ghost you. Scorpio, you said the wrong thing, or you heard a vulnerable spot, and they don't want to get into that uncomfortableness. Aquarius will ghost you just because you said something stupid, or you know what I mean. Like they just don't want to talk to you anymore or cut you off. Pisces would be overwhelmed and shit like that, but Aquarius, that disassociating type thing, it's very real. Look at all of these social movements. When I see social movements, I think Aquarius automatically because of the collectivism, people coming together off of like-minded ideas. That's very Aquarian, especially to progress or to change, a rebel against a previous thought that had existed. But when you
Mm,
look at aspects like communism, like you see the weaknesses of Aquarius in terms of, yeah, there's sound logic. Like if you read the Communist Manifesto, it's an astute observation of the economy at the time in terms of how things were running. How he looked at the economy, the negatives that he's seen were 100% accurate. And his idea and solutions, hey, maybe on paper, maybe it works. Maybe it's a good idea. But when you're not taking in one into account history and feelings and emotions in the present moment, you're not taking in, it's a little bit too rational. You're not taking the unpredictable because you're trying to dry everything out. You're forgetting about the water and the fire, how you feel at the moment, how people emotionally react, the memories that people hold carrying into the past, into and the passion and anger that people would have.
mm,
You're not taking, literally the idea of communism, and why I'm equating it with showing you Aquarian energy doesn't take into the account of passion, aggression, human desire, vitality, all of the aspects of fire, because fire is, not nice, right? Or it's a little bit too much to handle, because it has that destruction energy. But what would you do with that human passion if everything was flat or equal? You're gonna go and take other people. What are we gonna do with the aggression when you're trying to make everything, nice and peaceful? You're not even thinking about that. There needs to be a place for that energy. When am I gonna connect to? If you're taking, so you can get to a little bit too cerebral, if you get what I mean, if that's how you're planning for the future. And there's
mm,
aspects that you wouldn't know, how people are going to react, how people are going to emotionally feel about it, how you're going to emotionally feel about it. It could be perfect. Maybe perfect's not what you want, but you design as something that's perfect, and then now you force everything to go and to be within this perfect framework. And then once you see it, you realize the fire and water is in there, that those aspects aren't there, but you devoted so much energy. But that's what that disattachment would facilitate. You lose that fire and water, your connection, your feeling to the spiritual world, to the sensory world.
mm. Uh, this is why I feel like Aquarius could be associated with science because science that got to this place where
Of
they
heavy
came up
objectivity.
with these systems that they don't ever check again and different methodology that they go about doing their experiment, and now they don't even
Mhm.
have to check out what's going on with the real world. Like I argue, some scientists probably live in their labs and like don't even go outside and shit like that.
100%.
These would be like the hardcore scientists that think about creating a dystopia for humans, all type of vaccines and shit like that, but they don't even live in humanity. And maybe you even learn about that, and you learn no, they were kidnapped and they were raised a certain way, and it was a crazy shit.
100%. 100%. And how it's not connected to like the people, you know, the grander scale of how we're all connected. People don't realize that most scientific research is either government grants, government funded, or philanthropy. It's not like, and philanthropy is only going to come from people who, rich people who have financial interests. And then same thing with the government in terms of grants. You know, what are the companies that are lobbying to even make issues known to the government, to make opinions known to the government? Nobody's telling you, the government, about your personal problems, and where scientists can utilize those aspects. It's all of these different groups that fight for what that goes. So it's like uh how science goes is so cerebral. You know, it's disconnected. It literally is disconnected. It's missing the fire and water. But yeah, that's how Aquarius is looking. It's the strengths and weaknesses of Aquarius. What about Pisces? What is the strengths of Pisces?
Their strength is their ability to isolate their own like themselves and their own belief with their own form of reality through giving meaning and reading to certain dreams and illusion and let them basically overtake their life essentially. Like a Pisces will know how to subconsciously like brainwash himself. Like that's the power of Pisces.
Wow, that's 100%. Yeah, because of that, and then it's probably going to be a rough childhood in terms of the levels of sensitivity. But you're right; it's going to, if you get out of the fire, you'll have such a deep. If you don't run away from yourself from that childhood, and then to the suppression or different escape mechanisms, you're gonna have such an awareness of your subconscious mind that, like what Harris said, you'll be able to program yourself. You'll be able to change your beliefs, um, or to really devote yourself. People don't realize, even me, just speaking to more people just throughout life, you don't realize how much people are some non-believing ass niggas. I hate non-believers. I hate
Nah,
people that don't
no,
believe in nothing. That
no,
nothing. It's like, damn, bro.
that's the crazy part, yo. They don't even believe in believing. They're like, what do you mean believe? I'm like, what are you talking about, yo?
Yo, yo, this is where nihilism comes from. This is where all atheism comes from. It's from that spawn. Um, from that non-believing ass shit, and I feel bad for them, because how are you gonna connect to a greater reality? It's like, yo, you think this just this shitty ass world, or what you see, what's being presented to you in society, that's it? That's just the whole domain that a nigga has to operate within? You can't believe in something
Mm,
else or greater, or you have limiting belief systems that stretch you out to only experience a certain realm of reality? It's like, god damn, bro,
mm.
why? And then that reality be destroying them, it be eating them alive.
Yeah,
But
yeah, and a lot of
but
people
you're a
be,
hippie, but you're
yeah.
foolish for whatever it is. It's like, yo,
Like
what?
a lot of us be believing in other people's dreams and imaginations. Like I'm telling you, like, the entire world is built of dreams and imagination. Like everything, computers, cars, your favorite TV shows, your clothes. Like that's someone's imagination. That was someone's dream, and now we live in like a collision of people dreams together.
Wow.
And then
Yeah.
just people believe in believing, and all people believe instead of learning how to believe in your own, which is very hard. Being able to have faith in yourself and to believe in yourself is like probably the hardest thing to develop living here within like the third dimension, to be honest, because everybody's a non-believer. Even the believers don't know actually what believing is, because they were
Yeah.
taught to believe in a certain way. No, you gotta pray this way, you gotta believe in this way. No, but there's so many ways you could apply this belief and faith.
100%. And that's the difference between exoteric and esoteric. Whereas maybe Pisces is the esoteric, the behind closed doors, the hidden, the 12th house, 100%, where people get lost in the exoteric in terms of the physical representations, where you think it's Jesus that is giving you, but no, it's your belief in
Mm.
Jesus that is creating the inner sense of peace, that's creating the spiritual connection, that's creating all of that. It's not Jesus's in himself. So, but when it's Jesus, I can say Jesus said this, Jesus said that, and you're kind of forced to believe it because you believed in Jesus instead of your ability to believe, if you get what I mean. So, but when you esoteric, when you know what's going on behind the scenes, or and that's what your beliefs are based off of, you don't fall for those tricks because you know the adaptability of certain energies and that they could take different shapes and forms. So you'll be able to pick out the symbolism and the meaning of even though things are diverse.
I feel like also one of the power of Pisces is the like I said, like the power of developing your own like imagination. The more you're able to like maintain your awareness that I'm gonna experience or how the world look like to you as opposed to what's happening, you could like live in like some form of like a heaven or like view reality differently and not be as stressed out. It's almost like Pisces allowed us to mitigate the what's happening in reality. If you get what I'm saying, it's like a natural psychedelic drug.
100%. Look at Jesus. Jesus was representing the sun's transition through the age of Pisces, right? It going through all of these things, and it kind of embodied that Pisces thing. What did everything that Jesus stood for? Unconditional love, peace and fairness, all of that Piscean shit, and kind of what he embodied was like the perfected version of that. But then, yeah, look at him being sacrificed and all of that. Niggas went and crucified the nigga at the end of the day. But he represented that self-sacrificing nature, and that's Pisces, where the will and the love and the connection is so grand that Jesus was willing to sacrifice himself for the greater cause, for the greater meaning, because he really believed in what he was doing. When you really believe something and you really give yourself to a belief, you will be able to sacrifice things for it. You will be able to put things up for those beliefs. Sacrifice seems like the test or like the measuring stick of a belief in terms of what you're willing to give. And a lot of people, that's how you can tell what people really believe in terms of what they sacrifice for certain things. People be talking Christianity or speaking God, all these different types of talk about God, but they don't go to church on Sundays, or they never read the Bible, or different shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that unconditional love, that being able to connect with everybody. And when I think of Pisces, I think of Brahman. I think of the collective pool that everybody is connected
So
within.
yeah, this what makes Pisces the most non-judgmental, the most understanding, the most like
Connected.
yeah, they're a reflection of the world, like what's happening with the world on a subconscious level.
100%, and they're always going to meet you at your level. So the empathy is definitely strong, just like kind of Cancer, in terms of they'll easily be able to connect with your feelings and emotions. So it leads to that level of understanding that, oh, we're on the same playing field, oh, we're connected, oh, you can understand me, oh, I'm being received and not judged, just like you're saying. We love that from Pisces, and with that, you would rarely find mean Pisces, if you get what I mean. Maybe a manipulative one, but the way that they do it is based off of a kindness, an idealism, if you get what I mean. The idealism of Pisces, 100%. And that's where all of that energy really comes from. Because of being able to idealize. I think that's a core value of Neptune. Being able to idealize, and it's a core part of planning ahead for the future. If you can't figure out the ideal situation, and you're going to be so disconnected from what you want. And if you don't know the ideal situation, this is what fills your subconscious, what causes it to get cluttered, and filled up with a whole bunch of nonsense, because you didn't know what your ideal was. You didn't know what you wanted to manifest and give your spiritual energy towards. So Pisces has this awareness innate, so they are always idealizing things. So if somebody, Pisces and maybe Taurus are probably the master manifestors of all of the zodiacs in terms of knowing what they want, if you get what I mean. Where Pisces, Taurus is the master because they know what they want, and what they want is simple. It's not extravagant. Pisces wants world peace. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's not that. Taurus may want food, a new purse, a new car, or some shit like that. You know what I mean? Like it makes sense and it's attainable. Pisces is gonna fucking want world peace or all of this other different type of shit. But at least you know what it is that you want, and you can move. You have more space to move within the world, within the direction of where you're going and what you want to allow within your subconscious mind, because you're able to hold on to that ideal. And you can imagine, you can get through all the tough times in the world through holding on to that ideal, through having that vision, that imagination of how things could be. You're able to survive through the roughest parts of winter. You're able to survive through the winter and create a transition for new beginnings.
Mm-hmm.
Without Pisces, people who believe in shit like that, say like spiritual movements wouldn't move on, or your wills wouldn't be passed on, without that imagination, without niggas writing that story. I never would have imagined, say without One Piece or something like that, what would my idea or concept of freedom be like? Would it be, oh, freedom's having a car, freedom is having a bunch of money? But now, because I was raised off of One Piece, freedom's having a ship and being able to go on adventures and shit like that. If you get what I mean. What about
that's the weakness is there, since they desire to merge with the world on a subconscious level. Their weakness is their lack of ability to separate themselves or know where to draw the line with what feelings and emotion, dreams and illusion to give meaning and reasoning to. Since they're so emotionally cerebral, they could like a moon Pisces. These people have these alignments. Like we need them to speak for themselves, since they could go way more deeper in explaining it.
Yeah.
But like I was saying earlier, they need to learn how to separate the world from who they are, their spaceship, and the other people's spaceship. Because sometimes we're born to this world, like I was saying earlier, built by other people's dreams and illusions, and sometimes we end up being part of someone dreaming an illusion. It's so hard
Yeah.
to separate away from someone imagination. Like some are like our entire history is someone imagination. Like imagine how hard, how much it hurts to separate through that. Like you're separating, cutting like subconscious material. You're not talking about like someone cutting you, stabbing you, nothing. You talk about like some surgery on like a deep subconscious level.
100%. Because how are you supposed to imagine, things going a specific way when people are reacting in real time, say against, that imagination or that or that vision? It can get really hard to hold that image, or what becomes ideal, or your imaginations are now so much swifted because I can't, or it's harder to fantasize about things going right when this person's doing this right now, or when I can't imagine this person doing this in my life, and it's when you extend it to everybody else too, where things can go awry, and yeah, you don't know where to separate yourself. And then now your idealism is connected with everybody else's idealism, or their idealism is connected with your idealism. You can't allow people to have different belief systems, people to believe different things, or to have different imaginations, or to want that separate aspect. It could be hard for that. So maybe that's what brings out the manipulation of the Pisces, in terms of getting people to fit within their imaginations, because of that overwhelmingness, trying to take control within that.
That's interesting. I would say some Pisces, they think they're so subconscious, they don't believe other people have the ability to do the same things they do, so they end up having like a whole like subconscious battle.
100%.
And that's like
100.
old like world religions and shit like that.
Yeah, 100%. Where you get caught up in certain symbolisms and certain beliefs and don't realize that, maybe it's the same things happening in the mundane, or other people are saying the
Mm-hmm.
same things. You know what I mean?
Like a great example is this the fight between say Kanye West and then say the Jews in the music industry. Like a lot of people think this fighting over money, position, and religion. In my opinion, they're not even battling about that. The Jews are battling against him because if this guy becomes the ruler of everybody' imagination, subconscious mind, he drops the best music. All the Jewish kids gonna buy his shoes, and then their imaginations get connected to his imagination. Like what he's saying, Jews don't want their kids to be listening to Kanye West, wearing Yeezy. No, they want to go to study yeshiva, study Torah, be part of that subconscious mind. So it's like no, Kanye West, we gotta cut you out because you that influence the whole subconscious mind.
100%. And then look at the conservatism that's within, the Jewish community and stuff like that. They would want to cut off that external influence because it's too connected with other people, with all of this other energy. It's opening broadways. They would say the Jewish community would justify, maybe even mentally, cutting off from Kanye because it's going to lead to sex, because it's going to lead to drug use, and he cannot even be talking to all of those things. But it's the Pisces energy because of the culture and the influence that so much is packed in with the message that conservatives or it's hard to embrace that. Same things with large spiritual systems, how it kind of butts heads with like pure capitalists type deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's definitely a weakness with Pisces, the disillusionment, the getting lost in disassociated with reality, where that ideal, having that ideal is so essential for planning for the future. I can't stress that enough. A lot of people don't even get to Pisces in terms of mental development and a level of awareness, aka a lot of people don't get through to the subconscious mind. People don't get through the whole Zodiac. They don't go through the Jesus journey, the hero's journey. They get stuck at certain parts. They're still in the beginning phases and certain things, and they're kind of stuck within that level of story arc. They don't let the whole thing play out, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what leads to the lack of belief, or the lack of energy to devote to those larger concepts. So that idealism is so important to help continue that journey, but it can be blinding. It can be really distract you from the truth of your reality. It can distract you from the physical world that is around you because and it can distract you from actually picking up the lessons that it's going to take to achieve your ideal because you spent too much time fantasizing and idealizing about it, like that. And because of your subconscious, and if you're imaginative and things are seeping into your subconscious through unknown sources, that ideal that's going to come up is not even going to be your ideal anymore. It's going to be somebody else's ideal. Just like what Harith was saying before, where so much your dreams become, or someone else's dreams become your dreams. So susceptible to that with Pisces.
That's why they gotta be careful with being how open they are
Yeah.
and open because they are water signs, and then they open water sign too. So they receive the entire world and like Pisces from a medical astrology point of view, they deal with like health issues that we don't even have names for. We call them vibration, we call them mental health issues. Like we still got a long time to do a study on that.
100%. 100%. It's because it's too much. It's too intense. It's everything. It's the collection of everything.
Yeah.
Like is yeah, real talk. Like, are people really crazy? Are they really this? Or is there a real interaction, like electromagnetic fields pulsing them? Are you just making this up, or is niggas really sending you hateful energy? Is they really leeching energy? It's like we really haven't. Yeah, real shit. We really need to dive deeper into that shit. But yeah, that's how Pisces is looking, y'all. And those are the strengths and weaknesses of all the zodiacs. Hope you guys liked it. Like and subscribe if you fuck with the content. Follow us on Instagram, TrueSpace_. Check out our website, TrueSpace.biz. And yeah, thanks for checking the video out.
Take care.